Hey guys, my name is Holly, and our regularly scheduled Ashtanga Fusion class this morning here in the tiny house was supposed to be 8:45 to 10 a.m. I do realize it's 9:54. We had some technical difficulties, and so this live streaming thing is new to all of us, and especially to those of us who don't necessarily like seeing their mug on a video. So I have things to learn. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to reteach the Ashtanga Fusion class that we started at 8:45 because it cut off in the middle. And I'm so sorry if you were in the middle of your flow and that happened. This class is going to be available on our Facebook page here, and then the full practice will also be available on our YouTube channel. So if for some reason you're not able to pop in and practice with me right now, you can always come back later to our YouTube channel and catch my practice or any of the other instructors' practices, because we have started a Facebook Live takeover for 6 weeks, and we're working with instructors from all over the country that are providing their unique practices and perspective and personalities for Canopy and the Roots here on our page. So without further ado, I just want to give you a little introduction to Ashtanga Fusion. It's an athletic and strength-based yoga through breath and movement. Some of the postures are a little bit more challenging in regard to physically challenging, breathing through some muscle stretching and maybe some shaking and things like that. All of those things are completely normal when you're practicing yoga in general. And if for any reason you happen to feel lightheaded or nauseous and you need to sit down or you need to take child's pose in the middle of practice, anytime, honor your body, allow yourself to just be right where you are today. There's no striving and stressing to accomplish anything in yoga. It's just working with your breath and moving into these asana, these postures for optimal health, and just moving the bones and finding alignment. So we don't focus on whether or not our leg is high enough or whether or not we can get all the way down into a stretch. It's not important whether or not we can nail our inversions and arm balances. What's important is that we are honoring our bodies and being healthy and giving ourselves grace, because every day is different from one to the next. So, welcome to Ashtanga Fusion. My name is Holly. This is our tiny house here. We will be offering these daily yoga classes for the next 6 weeks through our Facebook Live takeover with different instructors from all over the country. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for your patience if you tuned in earlier and we had those technical difficulties. From the top of your mats, all I want you to do is take a simple seated posture, a crisscross applesauce, allowing your palms to rest face up on your knees. Melting the sit bones to the mat and drawing the eyes to a close. Maybe you sway into the right hip crease, left hip crease, really finding some range of motion here, allowing those knees, bringing that awareness to your knees. What is happening in your knees? Are you experiencing tension as maybe you hold your hips and hold your muscles and your joints tense? Are you experiencing, are those knees coming up off of the mat? Just bring some awareness into those kneecaps and allow them to melt into the mat. Your hips to open, the ankles to cross, the palms to rest face up on the knees. Full breath, inhale, sending the heart forward as you breathe, feeling the rise of the chest, the rise of the belly. Filling the lungs means you feel that oxygen moving throughout the body from the mouth to the throat, into the chest, and into the abdominals, filling the lungs as we send the heart forward. And when we exhale, not caving in or rolling in with our posture, but sending that heart forward, straightening through the spine and lifting through the chin. Inhale. And on your next inhale, bring those hands all the way up above the head. Palms come to touch with the fingertips. And exhale, hands through heart center. Setting an intention, a reason for your coming to the mat this morning, something that you're practicing for. Something that you're setting down like a weight lifted from your shoulders today. Filling the lungs. And all the uncertainty and all the unknown. We can find peace in our breath, in our movement, right where we are, not something we have to reach for, strive for, but peace that we can receive, accept, and be open to you, no matter our circumstance. As we inhale, maybe we keep the eyes closed or flutter them open, finding a spot to gaze. This is your practice. So flow through the postures on your own breath. You don't have to stay with my cue. As we inhale, rising through the fingertips and sending them up to the sky. Exhale to bring that right palm next to the right hip, bending through the right elbow and arcing over to the right side, bringing those left fingertips over. And again, maybe the eyes are still closed, maybe they're open. Turning the chin into that top arm, really rolling that left shoulder open. And inhale, bring it all the way back to center. Both arms up to the sky, both fingertips, all fingertips, 10 fingertips, all reaching towards the ceiling. Filling the lungs. And exhale, send that left palm over to the mat, arcing over to the left side, opening up through that right side body and turning the chin. And inhale, bring that back to center. Both palms come together above the head. Taking another tick-tock on the right side as we exhale, that right palm comes down and exhale over to that right side. Inhale, bring that back to center. Both palms come up to the sky. And exhale, that left palm comes down to the mat, arcing over to the left side. And inhale, bring both hands all the way up above the head. If you guys have any problems hearing me, or if for some reason, exhale that right palm down and left palm over to the right. Our wireless signal cuts out, or there's anything else that happens, just know I'll try to restore us back to our practice and back to the signal as soon as possible. You can drop some comments in the box if for some reason you can't hear me. Send me a message if you have any questions regarding postures and alignment. Just breathe. Inhale, bring those hands all the way back up above the head. And exhale, the palms down, tenting the fingertips. Or perhaps bringing the palms flat in front of the ankles. Pressing that heart forward, really filling the lungs. Lifting the chin. And exhale as you walk those hands forward slightly, pressing through the palms and rolling up to a neutral tabletop. Shoulders over elbows, over wrists, tops of the feet come to the mat. And wagging the dog, meaning bringing those hips over to the right, head over the right shoulder, and inhale, bring that back to center. Exhale, taking it over to the left. Just finding some freedom of motion here, moving and breathing into this space. Maybe you inhale and draw circles with the hips. And if you go one way, you go the other way. Maybe you stay in this neutral tabletop, just finding your breath as you press through the index finger and thumb. Tops of the feet to the mat, inhale, sending that chin slightly up and forward, drawing that belly down towards the mat for cow. Exhale, rounding the spine, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Staying with your breath. Exhale, cat. Inhale, neutral tabletop. Pressing through the tops of the feet and separating the knees as we sit the hips back on the heels, walking the hands up towards the top of the mat, stretching and reaching, pawing those fingertips up towards the top of the mat, stretching through the shoulders, triceps, elbows lifted off of the mat, only until we exhale to melt the forehead, melt the elbows. This is a great space for a block under the forehead. You can either turn it long or short, that block on the mat underneath the forehead, just to support any tension from the neck. We just want to release it. Surrendering into this child's pose, finding some space. You can gently just ease into that right and left hip crease, swaying into the space. And from your child's pose, let's start awakening the body, getting ready for our practice. Good morning, good morning, good morning. As we inhale, rising up to that tabletop as we press into the palms, index finger and thumb, turning those knees back. Finding that tabletop, maybe you sway into the hips, maybe you circle the head. In our tabletop, inhale up, cow. And exhale to round the spine, cat. Inhale, come to that neutral tabletop, bringing that right palm to the center of the mat, sending those left fingertips forward, reaching and activating as the right toes come back, flexing that right foot as if we stamp it on the wall behind us. And on an exhale, drawing that elbow to the knee. And inhale, reach it forward, kicking it back. Exhale, round it in. Inhale, reach. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach. 2 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach it forward. Pressing it back with the foot. And on the exhale, taking that left hand and reaching it around for the top of that right foot, kicking into the hand to open that left shoulder, keeping your gaze down just in front of those right fingertips, staying strong in your balance. Inhale, no slingshots as we release, sending that hand forward and that foot back. Exhale to set it down, finding your tabletop one more time. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale to that neutral tabletop. Left hand comes to the center and inhale to reach forward with those right fingertips and kick back with the left. Exhale, rounds it in. Inhale, reach. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach. Round. Inhale, reach. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach it forward, kick it back. And on your exhale, reaching around for the top of that foot, kicking into the hand, opens the shoulder. Not vice versa, no pulling, only kicking. No slingshots here as we inhale, reaching forward, kicking back. And exhale, setting it down, tabletop. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, rounding the spine, cat. Coming back to that neutral tabletop. Pressing the toes into the mat as we exhale. Sit those hips back on the heels and stretch into the arches of the feet, awakening the body. And inhale, bring it back. Tops of the feet to the mat, tabletop. Exhale, sit it back. Inhale it back to tabletop. Press those toes and exhale back into the heels, stretching through. And inhale, bring it back. Exhale, tops of the feet to the mat, sitting those hips back. Inhale, back to tabletop, pressing through the tops of the feet and separate the knees a mat width as we sit the hips back on the heels. Child's pose, walking those hands up. Reaching through the shoulders, melting the forehead, melting the elbows. Child's pose. Breathing here. Coming back to our intention. Not just now, but throughout the practice. If there's a challenging posture, filling the lungs, filling the heart with the knowledge that you can do this. Whether it's yoga or whether it's life. From our child's pose, inhale to rise up to the palms, turning those knees back to that neutral tabletop, sending that belly down towards the mat as we find our cow. And exhale, rounding the spine, cat. Inhale, coming back to neutral, bringing those toes to the mat as we press and lift through the knees. Inhale. And exhale, first downward facing dog. Sending those heels down to the mat. Being gracious with yourself. If those heels don't touch, it's no big deal. Shake the head loose of any tension and walk out your dog. Bending through that right and left knee, pedaling it out. Maybe turning the head into those armpits. And just moving into this space. No stiffness. No holding the breath. No negative speak. Inhale all the way up onto those toes. And exhale to press those heels maybe a little closer to the mat. Spreading the fingertips wide and squaring the shoulders. As we plant that left foot down, we're going to inhale up right leg, three-legged dog. Square hips, square shoulders, circling through the ankles. This is not about leg height here. We're not stacking the hips, they're square. Those right toes are pointed down to the mat, keeping everything in alignment. As we exhale, bend through that knee, sending the right foot through the hands, and rise all the way up. High lunge, inhaling as we move. Full breath. Exhale, swan diving down, bringing those hands to frame that right foot at the top of our mats. Stepping that left foot up to meet the right. And halfway lift, meaning we bring our fingertips between the shins or between the ankles and the knees as we draw our chin up for a halfway lift. Those fingertips trace halfway up the shins, drawing the shoulder blades down and back, the heart moving forward. Everything is kind of a 90-degree angle here. Exhale. Bring those palms down to the mat for our first standing forward fold. It's all right if you have a micro bend in the knees, if you just want to move in this space. And inhale, bring those arms out like wings. Draw the belly in towards the spine, protecting the core. As we inhale and rise all the way up, reverse swan dive. Those palms come all the way up over the head. And exhale, hands through heart center. Good morning. Wow, from our standing posture, inhale, bring those fingertips all the way up above the head, interlacing, releasing the index finger, and exhale, arcing over to the right moon pose, opening up through that left side body and turning the chin. And inhale, bring that back to center. For a tick-tock, exhale to the left. And inhale, bring it back. Exhale to the right. And inhale, bring it back. One more, closing on the left, exhale. And inhale, back to center. Separating the hands, swan diving down to our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Fingertips halfway up the shins. Flat back, heart moving forward, and shoulder blades together. Exhale into that forward fold. Bring the palms and fingertips to the mat. And stepping, hopping, or floating back to our downward facing dog. Exhale to send those heels down to the mat. Walking out of your dog if you'd like. Full breath. Inhale all the way up onto those toes. And exhale, finding stillness in your downward facing dog. Still warming up here. As we inhale, take our gaze all the way up between the hands, melting the knees to the mat, finding our tabletop here. Bringing that left hand again to the center of the mat, tops of the feet to the mat. As we inhale, send those right fingertips all the way up. We're preparing to thread the needle. As that right hand moves underneath the left arm, the right shoulder sets down on the mat. Taking it a step further if you'd like. I'm just going to turn so my back is attuned. Taking it a step further here. We can inhale those left fingertips all the way up above the head, bending the elbow and bringing the left palm maybe to the inside of the right knee, right thigh. Paying attention to that right temple. Sometimes we like to hold tension in the neck, especially I notice myself in thread the needle. I notice that I'm like holding my head up for some reason as if I'm trying to see something around me. Just pay attention to your temple and your forehead, maybe consciously bringing that right temple to the mat and just say, ah. Let it go. Inhale and winding that left hand all the way back up and planting the left palm down as we unthread our right needle, finding our tabletop. Inhale up, cow. Exhale, cat. Right hand comes to the center of the mat this time as we inhale up, left fingertips. Maybe wiggling the fingertips, maybe taking our gaze all the way up to those left fingers. And exhale, threading the needle opposite side. I will have my back to you so you can see this if you'd like. Inhale those right fingertips all the way up above the head. Bending through the elbow, maybe that right hand comes to the side, the left thigh. Releasing that left temple to the mat. Working through, warming up our shoulders for some chaturanga. Upward facing dogs, downward facing dogs. Using our shoulders. We have to stretch through and wake those up too. Inhale, send those right fingertips up. Right palm comes down to the mat as we rise all the way back to our tabletop. One more inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, tabletop. Pressing through those toes as we inhale up the knees and exhale, downward facing dog. Walking it out. Planting down through that right foot as we inhale up left foot, three-legged dog. Circling through the ankle. Keeping those hips square, shoulders square. Just a three-legged dog. If we were going to stack the hips, we would be bending that knee and then we would find that left hip rolling open. All we're doing is squaring the hips today. It's not about height right now. As we exhale, bend through that knee, sending that left foot through the hands and rise up. High lunge, full breath. Floating the palms down to frame that left foot at the top of our mats. Stepping that right foot up to meet the left. And inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Staying in this forward fold here, just for a moment. Micro bend in the knees is all good. Bring those hands inside the elbow creases. Allow that chin to drop towards the chest, the head to hang loose. And just ragdoll, maybe you move and sway between the right and the left sides of your body. Maybe you inhale and just kind of snake through the spine, just moving through the breath in our ragdoll here. Inhale here, halfway lift. And exhale into your forward fold. Bring those arms out like wings, drawing that belly in towards the spine. And from these arms out like wings, you're going to inhale, swoop them all the way up and forward, bending through the knees and rising up. Chair pose. Inhale as we move, sending those hips towards the heels, lifting through the toes, and maybe melting back towards the heels. Lifting the toes really helps you move into this chair pose, bringing all of the weight into the back of the heels so that we're not overextending through those knees. And exhale those hands through heart center or cactus arms. From our chair pose here, we might even work some arm balances into our practice from chair pose. But for now, we're just warming up. Squeeze those knees in towards the midline. And inhale, rise all the way up to standing Shaking out the knees gently. Planting through those toes. As we inhale, bring those hands all the way up above the head. Exhale, hands through heart center, flat back, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, planting the palm step hop or float back to your downward facing dog. Walking it out, pedaling through. Inhale all the way up onto the toes. And exhale those heels down. Inhale, finding our plank, or maybe rounding the spine. To enter into plank, spread those fingertips wide. Press through the index finger and thumb. Supporting and helping the wrists. We want to avoid wrist pain and strain. Rotating those elbows in towards the midline and pressing through those heels to the back of the wall, the back of the room. Exhale, squeeze those elbows into the ribs as we lower down, and an inhale brings us to upward facing dog. Either those thighs lift or they stay on the mat. Tiny little back bend as we lift the chin, drawing the belly in towards the spine. And exhale, downward facing dog. Walking it out. Let's take another chaturanga here. I already know you guys did great. Inhale, plank. Exhale, squeezing the elbows into the ribs, lowering down as we bring that heart forward. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walking it out. Planting now through that left heel. As we inhale up, right leg again. Three-legged dog. Circling through that ankle, pointing those right toes down. In our three-legged dog, hips are square. Exhale, bend through that right knee, sending the right heel maybe into the glute. Now we stack our hips, still squaring our shoulders. Still no tension in the neck. Circling through that knee, some figure eights. Greasing the wheel, I like to say. Those hip joints, man. Inhale, open up through that hip one more time, finding stillness. Straightening through the knee, finding that three-legged dog. And exhale, sending that right foot through the hands and rising up, high lunge. Really planting down through that right foot. No overextension, those left and right toes point to the top of the mat. High lunge here. Full breath. Exhale, turn those back toes out. Taking your gaze over the right fingertips as we open up the hip for second warrior. Inhale, straighten through that front knee. Hinging at the hip, flipping the right palm and bringing it inside of that right foot. Left fingertips reach up all the way to the ceiling, taking your gaze up to those left fingertips. Full breath. Sweeping that left hand all the way to meet the right. And bringing it down the wide edge of your mat. As we inhale, maybe straighten the spine, maybe draw the heart forward, maybe push the shoulder blades together before you exhale into this wide forward fold. The crown of the head, the forearms, the fingertips, any of these parts of the body can be touching the mat. The crown of the head, the forearms, the fingertips, the palms. Maybe you're in a halfway lift and you're saying, this is as far as I'm going today. That is all good. That's what honoring your body looks like. Not saying, okay, hey body, I know you're telling me this hurts and this is wrong for me today, but I'm going to make you do this anyway. Honoring your body is saying, hey, cool, it's all right. I'm going to hang out right where it feels best today. From this wide forward fold, those toes are maybe slightly turned out. Maybe it helps for you to heel toe your feet out a little wider just to get a more wider forward fold. Inhale here, filling the lungs as we bring ourselves back to those fingertips if we're not already there for a halfway lift in this wide forward fold. Walking the hands around to frame that left foot at the back of our mats. Planting through the palms and right toe tips. Send that left foot all the way up and back, three-legged dog. Exhale to stack the hips, bending through that left knee, bringing that left heel into the glute maybe. Squaring the shoulders still as we draw those figure eights with the knee, increase that wheel. And inhale, stacking the hips one more time, finding stillness before we straighten through the knee, finding that three-legged dog. And bending the knee, bringing that left foot all the way up and through the hands, rising up, high lunge. Inhale. Full breath. Turning those back toes out. Second warrior. Taking our gaze over those left fingertips. Staying strong here. No overextension at knee. You should be able to see those left toes. Inhale, straighten through the front knee. And hinging of the hip, flip that top palm. And bring it inside of the left foot as the right fingertips come all the way up. Triangle pose. No weight pressing into that left wrist. No collapsing into that left side body. Inhale, reach through those right fingertips. Open through the right shoulder, gazing all the way, even maybe past those right fingertips. To a little bit, take your gaze even to the wall behind you. If possible, scoot that right hand down to meet the left. And take that wide forward fold when you're ready. Maybe a halfway lift as you good before you forward fold. Crown of the head, triceps, fingertips, palms, whatever meets the mat right now, finding your wide forward fold. Inhale from this wide forward fold, halfway lift. Walking those hands around to frame that right foot. Once again, coming back to the top of our mats. Here we are. Those palms will frame that right foot. I'm going to readjust my feet personally because I've got a little ball action going on here and there. I want to kick the walls. Step that left foot up to meet the right. And inhale, halfway lift. Exhale into that forward fold. From this forward fold, we're going to inhale and round up, one vertebrae at a time. Chin coming up last. Draw that belly in towards the spine. Roll the shoulders down and back. Palms at your sides. Mountain pose. Maybe move the head to the left and right shoulder. How are we doing, guys? Just going to check in real quick. Grab some water anytime you need it. Thanks for watching, guys. Good morning, my friends. Thanks for being here. From our mountain pose, gently just resting those palms at your sides. Inhale, send those fingertips all the way up above the head, bringing those palms and fingertips to touch, bringing awareness to each of those fingertips as you press through. And exhale, hands through heart center, flat back, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale into this forward fold. One more time. Bending through the knees now as we swoop those hands forward and make big circles all the way up and around. Inhale up to that chair pose. Sinking back onto the heels and lifting through the toes. Exhale those hands through heart center or cactus arms. I'm going to work through some standing postures here. And a standing half pigeon. If you guys have sciatic pain or lower back pain, half pigeon is your jam. And I'll show you some different ways to do that. From our chair pose, either cactus arms or hands at heart center. Breathe into this space. We're going to bring ourselves into some challenging postures because we're not afraid. From heart center, inhale. And exhale, take a twist over to the left, right elbow outside of that left knee. And if it's available, open it up. Blossom those arms, right fingertips down, left up. Inhale, bring that back to center. And exhale, take it over to the opposite side, left elbow to right knee, and open it up. Inhale, hands back to center, back to the center line as we rise, straightening through the knees, gentle shaking it out. Ooh. Building the heat as we send those fingertips all the way up above the head, swan diving down to our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant those palms and step, hop, or float it back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Chaturanga, lowering down onto the chest as we inhale, heart forward, upward facing dog, thighs and knees lifted or not. Tiny little back bend as the chin lifts. Draw that belly in towards the spine and exhale, downward facing dog. Walking it out. Inhale, one more, chaturanga, finding our plank. Exhale, lower down. Exhale, downward facing dog. Planting through that right foot as we inhale up, left foot, three-legged dog. Exhale, bending the knee. Left heel maybe comes into the glute. Maybe you roll a little open into that left shoulder. Maybe you flip your dog. With nice, slow control, if you're flipping your dog, send those hips all the way up. All the way up to the side. Reaching through those left fingertips. Coming out of it the way we went in. Drawing that left hand nice and slow back to the mat. Straightening through that left foot, three-legged dog. Inhale, bend through that knee, send that left foot all the way through the hands. Rise up high, lunge. Now, using that right foot, that little arch in our foot, we can feel that there's some possibility to spring. So we're not actually going to spring, but we are going to move forward. As we exhale, bring those hands to heart center. Press through those left toes and inhale all the way as we step up through that left foot, finding a position for warrior three. As we exhale, hinging at the hip, those right toes point down for a warrior three. You can yogi flex the toes. You can point them. From our warrior three, bend through that right knee and swoop it forward. Keeping that right knee lifted. All we're going to do is take that right knee outside of the hip and bring the right ankle just above. This isn't tree pose. Bring that ankle just above the left knee. We're coming into our standing half pigeon. And so flex through that right foot, maybe curling the foot around the left thigh, sending that heart forward and allowing that right hip to open. You're going to want to play with your foot position on that thigh, depending on where your body is today. Send that heart forward and hinging at the hip. Exhale, stopping halfway here. And this may be where you live. But my encouragement is for you to take this all the way to a forward fold. As you exhale, separate the palms and allow your hands to catch you at whatever point you need to maybe draw the nose to the knee, or just to release the tension from the head and feel this half pigeon stretch in kind of a different way. Now there are some options here with standing half pigeon where you can actually fly your pigeon. And this is a fun little arm balance. If you've never tried a flying half pigeon, or maybe you have and you're working on it, please just stay in this open hip posture for a few more breaths here, okay? Now, if this is painful for you, I'm going to give you some options here, because standing half pigeon doesn't have to be this way. You can actually recline your half pigeon and do this from flat on your back. A lot of the times people do that at the end of class. Breathe into this stretch. This is intense. I know if you're holding it, you're saying, stop talking. Just breathe. Breathe into this space. The other thing about half pigeon is you can easily do it at home by putting your foot on the kitchen counter. Inhale and exhale over that leg, allowing that sciatic pain that you might feel or lower back pain to release. This opens your hip and allows some of that tension to release. So from your fold, you're going to bring those palms, if you're flying your half pigeon, you're going to bring your palms in front of the toes, maybe about 6 inches. This is just like any other arm balance where you're bringing your weight onto the triceps, shifting your weight forward with your heart. The goal here, and I'm better on one side than I am on the other. I think that's kind of common. So basically you're taking your right foot and wrapping it around that left tricep, shifting your weight forward for balance. And the goal is to be able to lift that left foot off of the mat and even send it back. Sending that left foot straight back. I'm going to just work you out of this standing half pigeon because I'm not going to send that left leg back. It's not in my practice today. So from this folded standing half pigeon, bring those hands to heart center. Activate the core, draw that belly in towards the spine, and rise up all the way to our standing posture, not putting that right foot down. Inhale, unwinding and uncrossing the ankle as we step that right foot all the way back to that high lunge. Ooh, maybe you feel it in that left hip. Heel toe that left foot over to the left edge of your mat. Inhale those fingertips all the way up above the head, sending that right arm under the left for a pigeon arm. Inhale one more time, lifting through the elbows as we draw the elbows inside of that left leg. Breathing here. Those back toes are slightly turned out. And from this posture, inhale, plant through those feet. Send those elbows all the way up along with your midsection as we inhale, rise all the way up, unwinding the arms, opening up, second warrior. Nice job, guys. Sweep that right hand to the top of the mat. Turn those toes to the top of the mat. Bring those hands all the way up above the head. Framing that left foot. And stepping it back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walking it out. Inhale, plank. Draw that belly in towards the spine. Elbows draw in towards the ribs as we lower down. And inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walking it out. Inhale, taking your gaze up between the hands, melting the knees to the mat, finding tabletop. Quick recovery posture as we press through the tops of the feet. Separate the knees and sit the hips back. Child's pose. Deep breaths here, guys. I'm going to grab some water too. From our child's pose. We're going to inhale and rise all the way back to our tabletop. Turning those knees towards the midline of the mat, pressing the toes into the mat, lifting the knees up, and exhale, downward facing dog. Ready for that sequence on the opposite side. As we plant through that right foot and inhale up left foot, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend through that knee, left heel to the glute, and straighten through, finding the three-legged dog, and set that left foot down. Inhale up right foot, three-legged dog, and exhale, open the hip. Circling through the ankles. If flip your dog is in your practice, with nice slow control, bring that right foot all the way over, sending the hips up, flipping your dog. The same way you went into it, you come out of it, bringing that right hand back to the mat. Lifting high through that right foot, then squaring the hips for that three-legged dog. Sending that right foot through the hands. And rising up, high lunge. Exhale the hands through heart center. As we find, again, that little spring, that little left foot hinge here. As we step it up, Finding first our balance. You can use that left foot as a tripod, little kickstand if you like. Before we hinge at the hip, bringing those left toes up square for warrior three. Keeping that left foot off of the mat and bending through the knee, bringing that left knee all the way up and forward. Finding that standing half pigeon on the opposite side as that left ankle comes to the right thigh, and then your left foot is maybe going to wrap the thigh. Finding your foot position that's optimal for you today. And so with these hands at heart center, send that heart forward, really challenging your balance as you press through and activate those right toes. You should feel each toe pressing into the mat from the outside to the inside. Exhale as we gently hinge at the hip. Bring the heart forward towards the ankle and that right knee, separating the hands when you need the balance. Exhale, that nose comes into the knee. One more opportunity here. Pigeon. As you flex through the palms, making that shelf with the tricep wrapping that right tricep with the right foot or left foot. Shifting your weight forward. And again, the goal is to lift that right foot or send the leg all the way back. From our standing half pigeon on the opposite side here, draw those hands to heart center when you're able to rise halfway, the belly coming into the spine, really pressing through those right toes, maintaining balance here. As we unwind, lifting through that left knee, and bringing that left foot all the way back to a high lunge. Turn those back toes up and heel toe that right foot over to the outside edge of the right mat. Inhale, sending fingertips up, left arm winds under right. For an eagle arm, inhale, those elbows lift, and exhale. Elbows come inside, right leg. Unwinding as we inhale first to lift through the elbows. Unwinding the arms, maybe opening them for that second warrior. Taking the gaze over the right fingertips, adjusting feet if necessary. Sweeping that left hand to meet the right, turn those back toes. Finding that high lunge only for a second. Before we exhale, bring those hands down to frame that right foot. Stepping that right foot all the way back for a downward facing dog. Inhale, taking your gaze up between the hands and melting the knees. Tabletop. Crossing the ankles. And sitting the hips back behind the heels. You're going to bring those legs out long, down the length of your mat. Inhale. Bring those hands to the outsides of the hips, just moving the sit bones up and away from the mat. Maybe moving those legs all the way, those hands all the way down the legs. Little massage here. Inhale, flat back. Draw the shoulders down and back. Bring those hands all the way up above the head. Sending the heart forward, keeping the spine straight. As we bring the fingertips to the toes, the goal is not nose to knee. The goal is not even fingertips to toe. It's wherever you are. Maybe dropping tension from the neck as you just bring the chest or the chin down towards the chest. Full breath. You can flex your toes. You can point your toes. If you'd like to take that full forward fold, inhale and fold on the exhale. Maybe the nose comes closer to the knees. From here, rounding up one vertebrae at a time. Allow your chin to come up last. Bringing the palms just behind the hips, fingertips face those hips, and walking the soles of the feet up as we bend through the knees. All we're going to do is just heel toe those feet out to the wider edges of our mat so that we can windshield wiper the knees to the left and the right with some extra space. Maybe opening the hips through here just a little further. One more inhale, wraps the knees, bringing the knees into the chest as we rock and roll onto the back. Legs all the way up the wall, flexing through the feet, really activating through this back body. As each vertebrae is on the mat and your feet are flexed and your knees are drawn in towards the midline, this should not be just melt into the mat posture. This is a very active posture. Feet up the wall, legs up the wall. You may even feel a little bit of a shake in those knees. Full breath. Bending through the knees, bringing the soles of the feet back to the mat. And walking the feet out the length of your mat. Drawing the eyes to a close as perhaps you cross the elbows over the front body. To reach around for the shoulder blades and separate, lifting and setting down the shoulder blades back onto the mat. Uncrossing the elbows, releasing the palms to your hips. Releasing elbows, palms, wrists. ankles, feet. Shavasana. Now, you can stay here as long as you like. Or if you like to bend through the knees, draw them in towards the chest. Massaging the spine. Wiggling fingers and toes and bringing yourself back to the awareness of your breath. Rolling to your favorite side or staying in Shavasana. And keeping your eyes closed as you press yourself up to a seated position or remain in Shavasana. Maybe bringing your hands to heart center, maybe another inhale with those fingertips all the way up above the head. Coming back to our intention. Our reason for practice today. My prayer is that we can take this calm in the storm, this peace among any circumstance, this tenacity and courage off of our mat and into our families, our communities, to be a light, to be a blessing, to encourage and love others, to take what we've experienced, the fires that we've walked through and come out on the other side of, and use that wisdom and experience to help others, to bless others who may be experiencing the same things. To be agents of healing. And restoration. I pray all these things for each of you. I pray all these things for each of you in my faith, by the power of the Holy Spirit, and in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Namaste. Thanks for coming to practice today. I hope you feel great. Thanks for joining me. This has been week 2 of 6 for our Facebook Live takeovers for Canopy and the Roots in lieu of shelter in place. And tomorrow we have Claire in Cornerstone Yoga with her strengthening and stretching. Her class is tomorrow morning at 10:30, and you guys can see our full schedule on our website. That's canopyandtheroots.com. There's a page for all of our instructors so that you can read about each instructor, their bio, their class, their reason for teaching. Thank you for joining us today. Hope you guys have a great weekend. It's Friday, and stay tuned to Canopy and the Roots Saturday night because we have a very special live stream going on. The band is called Silver Cup, and they are an indie pop from Utah, and they're live streaming from Utah for us tomorrow night at 8:30, and they are coming back in September for a welcome back for all of our students as well at UNG. And so their music is so energetic and positive and really different. They do some vinyl sampling, and I just think you guys are really going to enjoy Silver Cup tomorrow night at 8:30, and really enjoy Claire's practice tomorrow morning at 10:30. So just come back and see us. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties earlier this morning at 8:45. We will try to rectify that situation so it doesn't happen again. But thank you so much for your patience. You guys are graceful and forgiving, and love you guys. Have a great weekend. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. You can send them in a message or drop them in the box. Thank you.